Grab your beverages and turn up your interweb. Solving the world's problems 12 ounces at a time. It's Dudes and Beer. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to episode 153 of the Dudes and Beer podcast, coming to you live from Austin, Texas. I am Chris Jordan, your host. With me tonight in the studio is the awesome Miss Julie Connolly, as well as our good friend from Breach TV, Richard Adams, who I've spent the whole day with. And as a matter of fact, Richard, why don't you go ahead and tell our people, we've got a little test going on with some Breach Live stuff. You can tune in. Breach, I believe it is breach.live.5080 /live, and that should take you there.
That should take you
and you should be able to apply to the broadcast and be able to check it out. So feel free to check out some live video. We're helping Breach, who is one of our sponsors, do some live feed testing, stuff like that. So yeah, we've spent an awesome day at South by Southwest. We got to go out and enjoy the well, why don't you tell them about it, because you're actually the one that invited me to the show, Adam.
Yeah, so we got invited to a show that Harry Fox and Rumblefish were putting on this afternoon. So Harry Fox and Rumblefish is one of the three major music licensing organizations for content providers like Breach and other providers. So basically what they will let us do is let folks like you guys put copyrighted music into your podcast, into your videos that you upload with us. And then they will handle paying the actual artist who did the original content. Yeah. So, yeah, we got to hang out with some guys from Rumblefish. Got to see a couple of really pretty kick-ass bands this afternoon. Yeah, a few. There was one that played inside, then a couple of artists outside. Yeah, the two that played outside were really awesome. Oh, my God, yeah. I'm trying to remember the name of the female act that played first outside. Something Hags. You actually looked that up, and it was incredible. She was really doing some great solo stuff with like synthesizers and just right up my alley kind of music. It was great. We had a super fun time. That was actually one of your first South by events to go to. Yeah, Richard. It was. Is that correct? Wow. And Julie, you are a South by veteran.
I am.
How many South bys have you been to? You haven't been to anything yet this year.
Not this year. We moved here in 2004, and this is the first year that I haven't done stuff. I worked when I was with Barnes & Noble. Mm-hmm. I did the book selling that they did there in the convention center, so I was there for that. And then we got wristbands for that, and then the badge for the tech stuff, because that's what we were there for. So always did that, and then continued when I wasn't there anymore, but Brian still was. In the last few years, we've just gone to the free stuff. But this year is the first one so far. Nothing. I'm actually missing a couple shows right now to be here with you guys, but it's really worth it.
That's sweet. as much of a music goer as you are, because you literally...
I've seen them both before, so it's okay.
You're out all the time at shows and everything else. With Sheehy Communications and the bands that you work with, and not only that, just being out and about.
I have to drink a lot, so I have something to write about in my blog.
That's it. And that's important. Content is key. Tell people where they can go to check out your blog, Julie, because it's super fun. It's some great stuff that you just started. And I'm all about supporting people. Yes. She doesn't even have her own plug ready.
I know, it's Hot Sauce and Aspirin at WordPress.
There you go. Hot Sauce and Aspirin at WordPress. It is literally a hangover blog. It's perfect for the day after Dudes and Beer.
Yes, that's usually when I write it, is on Wednesdays.
The idea is basically home remedies that actually work.
Or
stuff
pharmaceutical.
Like that. Or pharmaceutical remedies, products that are out there. Just, hey, I've tested this and it did nothing for me.
Right. Had a few of those.
Yeah. And, I of course spent a few years working South by Southwest in a few aspects, not just in clubs, but providing engineers, helping produce a couple of shows, things like that. And I've seen things change drastically over the years that I've been involved, to where it is now from where it was in the late 90s, whenever I first started being involved in shows up around here. But
and it kind of mirrors how our city has changed in the last
it does.
15 years.
It does. And, that kind of brings us into the news of the week because there are a few news articles about Austin that we posted on Dudes and Beer. Not fantastic news articles, no. There was, of course, the fact that there's been a rash of bombings around the Austin area. There's been 3 reported, a couple people injured pretty bad. And if I'm not mistaken, 1 killed.
2.
I think.
2,
Has it
yeah,
been 2 killed?
Yeah, 1
confirmed?
yesterday and 1 March 2nd.
Okay, yeah. And I couldn't remember if the guy on March 2nd was killed or not.
He was,
but,
I think, a little bit later.
So be careful with packages, folks. If you aren't expecting a package,
use your judgment.
Yeah.
If it looks like it's Amazon or UPS, it probably
check with your family, hop onto your family Facebook group and send a message, hey, anybody send a package? Because it happened just a week or so to my brother where he was like, oh my God, I had 2 packages arrive from Amazon and I'm not expecting anything. And I was like, wait a minute. Do you remember when I asked you for your mailing address? Because I used to know it, but then it changed because of what the city did with the road adjacent to his private road. So it was like, hey, yeah, I sent a couple of birthday presents for Andrew. I bet you that there's a game, a DS1 case and a DS1 video game holder in those 2 packages. And he was like, oh, okay, cool.
That's what it is.
But yeah, he even
Not
was absolutely put it on blast on Facebook, yo, what's going on with strange packages showing up
Amazon
on my doorstep? Yo.
My sister is doing a big St. Patrick's party this year, and so she's sending everything to my house.
Yeah.
So all this came up, and I get 5 to 7 packages a day from her.
Yeah.
But addressed to me, and I'm like, I know I did not order, get drunk and go online. I'm like, Erin, what's going on? She's like, oh yeah, and then my friend is coming, who's going to be on the show.
Did I have a drunken Oriental trading night?
All this flashy stuff,
all these,
glow bracelets, and I'm like,
LED cups and
totally. I don't own a preschool anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't need these things.
I don't need all these craftsy gifts.
Random stuff showing up at my house.
Yeah. And I even replied to you. I was like, I refuse to live in fear. Right now, I'm accepting packages for the South by Southwest Pedal and Synth exhibit. I'm receiving a good 2/3 of their packages locally. So it's but what am I going to do? Number one, it's got a signature on it. So I doubt seriously any bomber is going to take the time to make something signature required.
Probably
That's just not how you go about making sure.
It get delivered by UPS or FedEx anyway.
That's how you make sure it doesn't just get left at the doorstep randomly, So there was that in the news. And, of course, in other South by news, which is one of the things that I wanted to talk about, was Arnold Schwarzenegger coming out. He was one of the keynotes for things this year. And I found it kind of odd that he went into the whole Me Too thing because didn't that kind of come out whenever he went for governor of California that he had a few issues with that?
He had issues with infidelity, but it was
It was consensual.
It was consensual. It was his maid, and then he ended up having a a kid with her.
I thought there was something else about the allegations against him by other people.
I don't think so, but I don't. Things change so quickly that it's hard to keep track of everybody. But I don't think so. However, the fact that he was having a relationship with his maid, even if it is consensual, is still weird.
He still employs her.
I was
don't do that.
My father is one afflicted with that. He's had numerous wives in his life. And it's one of those you were doing all right to begin with. You're Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right.
Top of your game, bro. Action movie, it's you or Bruce Willis, and you can fight it out, my
money's on him if they're actually fighting.
Yeah. If they're actually fighting, he would destroy him.
Yeah.
No, probably
still now.
Probably still would, because he's still a fairly large guy.
Yeah, you don't lose that.
Right.
Once it's there.
And he's doing another Terminator movie.
You got to work real hard to lose that physique once you've trained your body to be there.
And triplets. I know that's not what we're talking about, but I'm kind of excited about triplets.
Yeah, right?
Even when you're... Even when you're 70 like he is, you're still...
But, it was one of those things of really? How lazy do you have to be? You're married to a Kennedy, so I guess they kind of expect the infidelity to be thrown in there somewhere.
But it should be from the Kennedy side.
But, Number one, yeah. Number two, you're going to go for like the softball pitch over the plate of the maid?
Right.
You know, like, come on.
She was a pretty hot
Come on.
maid.
But still, it was like the maid. Man, you know, you could anything in the rainbow, and there you go.
Well, it was low-hanging fruit, right? It was just right there.
It's right there. It's right there. And but it was interesting to hear him go onto the Politico podcast, things like that. One of the things we noticed while we were sitting there, that's just change among changes. I've seen so many things happen over South by since I moved here, from McDonald's saying they didn't have money to we have money to put on a stage, but not to pay musicians. Yeah. I remember that one a few years ago.
Oh, Austin.
I remember bands being told that they couldn't pass out material for their shows on the street because it wasn't an official South by showcase.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that stuff happening.
There was the immigration contracts last year.
Yeah. That was right up against South by, and we saw today on Facebook, and I just had to call it out. Right there in the convention center, Pfizer was set up with a booth.
Really?
Pfizer.
Pfizer.
And granted, they had like a Stop Hunger campaign and things like that, but the space that they're in...
But it's Pfizer.
I'm hurt because the space that they're in used to be the Gear Expo.
Oh, and now it's
And
Big
it's like,
Pharma.
that was an integral part of like what musicians could go to for free and see new gear coming out, new technology in their industry. Like, it was some cool stuff and interactive.
But not big money, obviously.
Yeah. So
Pfizer,
instead, now we have Pfizer, and they're doing a like, let's stop hunger. I was like, yo, Pfizer, how about you step 3 blocks north, where all the homeless are gathered, and go set up camp there, and pass out some food.
Right, that's it.
And
if
actively
you want to stop hunger, you're a multi-billion-dollar agency.
You got your chance.
You can do it yourself
3
right now.
blocks up the road, actively.
Their byline for it was so ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Rise up against hunger.
Yeah, it was
from Pfizer.
Yeah. I was like, Yeah, it was like,
cheesy can we get?
What's that? Viagra, Rise Up Against Hunger?
Yeah.
Pfizer is the manufacturer of.
Absolutely.
So.
And that's one of the things that, I mean, I can get interactive. I firmly understand the educational part, because that's part of interactive, and that's what I was telling Amy. Like, that came out of the interactive section, where here's new technology that can be used for education that's fully interactive, engages students on a different level. That was the idea behind the education portion. But stuff like Politico magazine coming and putting stuff on, like, I don't know that really falls under, like, by Southwest.
And what was
everything's under South by Southwest these days.
Exactly.
DC and Marvel had a big thing up here over the weekend.
Oh, sure.
He had a huge thing.
That's interactive media related.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But they had characters doing signings. They had writers doing
for
signings.
$1 billion and waiting in line for 9 hours.
Jim Lee and stuff like that came
they were all here and signed. So
and they sign at actually very reasonable rates, most of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, most of them, it's like you can bring 3 books and it's like $20, and
it's not terrible.
You'll get some signatures. Now, like, you want like Rob Liefeld to sign Deadpool #1, he's going to charge you like $30. But that's because
Barnes and Noble that's providing the books.
Yeah, it's like, the value of that comic just went up from like $150 to like $400,
right?
Because you have the creator and the writer, on it,
right?
Stuff like that. So there are instances like I've paid extra money from Rob Liefeld to have some of my first appearances signed, and it was classy. Like, one of them was the last one that both he and Todd McFarlane, the guy who drew Spider-Man for the longest time and came up with Spawn, whenever they both left and made Image, they did one last comic book, and it was X-Force, which was a group that was come up with by Rob Liefeld, and Todd McFarlane drew it and Rob Liefeld wrote it. And he was just going through and just ragging on Liefeld, or ragging on McFarlane, like, look at how he drew Cannonball, man. He looks like a donkey. Like, what's that face? Look at those teeth. What's that all about? Just like ragging all over him. Well, he's signing the same one that I had him sign, because it was like both of their last book for Marvel. So it was like,
That's
super
funny.
geek moments.
Totally.
But that I can firmly understand, because I'm used to that at a festival, or at a Comic-Con, rather. But
we've waited in some lines to get the signatures at Comic-Con.
Like I remember it was a few years ago, and I was waiting for it to pop back up on my feed, but I had posted it on Facebook, like one of the original ads from when I had just graduated high school and gone off to college for South by, and it was in the Houston Press, and it was like $15, and you get this shirt, and you get into all these shows. And it was like,
the wristband used to be worth something, and
like
now
it got you something.
Nothing.
And now it's like you've paid $1,500 for a wristband,
and you can't get in anywhere with it. You have to get the platinum badge, and even that's not guaranteed. Then you still have to be one of the first people to show up. It's crazy.
Wait in lines for 3-4 hours.
And you're paying like $4,500 for this. It's crazy because I looked into it.
Yeah.
Not a lot going on. Liam's got his friend in town for the week. So this could be cool.
Sure.
No.
And
not
it's
at $4,500. It's not.
No. And, I'm very fortunate.
It's like the event that we went to today, even if you had the platinum badge, you were still buying beer and everything else at the bars.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I never bought drinks at South by. Never. That's why I used to go all the time.
$5,000 and you still have to buy all your alcohol?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little crazy. And it's gotten that way. And of course, the sale to a major festival company, things like that, definitely helped make a lot more avenues open as far as that goes. Even last year, them talking about the immigration and the performers and everything else. That was a huge hot button issue. But what surprised me was Arnold Schwarzenegger coming out and saying that he is putting forth a motion with a few select law firms that he's found to actively try big oil companies for first-degree murder because of their knowledge of what this could do.
And the fact that they've known it for a long time. Because I noticed in the article, he said that they don't have warnings at gas pumps. They absolutely do, but maybe they haven't always. Yeah. Because I don't know. But ever since I was 16, they have had the warnings on there.
Don't inhale a fume, don't drink this stuff, you will die.
People who work in gas stations have a higher rate of cancer. It is spelled out on there. Maybe it's not everywhere, though.
Well, and you're right, since you've been a kid. Now, granted, before that stuff was on the side of cigarette packs, everything else, it was a totally different world when our parents grew up.
Right, and so if they didn't have the warnings then, but they knew better, I think that there's a case for litigation there.
Yeah. And
it's your first-degree murder, though.
First-degree murder, that's the thing.
But it is a little bit premeditated because they know it's going to kill people, and then they put it out there anyway. I don't think it's a hard case, but Big Oil has a lot more money than Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. But see, that to me...
I mean, Exxon's worth $500 billion.
The planet. I mean...
$500 billion.
Like the
ridiculous
oil spill today that barely made any news yesterday.
200,000.
From the Dakota pipeline.
Yeah. Don't worry about it, guys. It's just definitely doing what we all said it was going to do.
Yeah, it's all good. And I mean, hey, I'm a Texan tried and true, and
I'm not.
I have family that works in oil. My dad, and that's where I want to kind of rabbit hole is because if you're going to talk sin taxes, if you're going to talk like taxing the oil companies and everything else, a lot of my family works in not just petroleum manufacturing that manufactures that, but that manufactures everything else petroleum, manufactures all of our ethyls and, styrofoams and stuff like that. Like, what would we have in a world without petroleum? And I was telling Richard about...
Not even really, though, because paper is a plant that,
No, we would have paper.
Paper existed with the ancient Egyptians. They had papyrus.
Coal and...
We'd have to go to hemp.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
That'd be all right.
It'd be all right with me.
You can regrow an acre of hemp in 6 months as opposed to an acre of trees in 6 years.
I think that we are kind of finally figuring out, the full extent of crop rotations in this country.
Yeah.
Though finally I drove to West Texas. They figured out that they can grow cotton there now, which is crazy. Seriously, but I have driven that route 6 times a year for the last 22 years.
Right.
And this time they have this huge booming cotton industry.
Great.
And it's like, and they were all tilling and getting ready to put the next thing down. And I was like, so all this time, I mean, I learned about crop rotation.
Okay, yeah, but see, the thing is, even in Maine, like, have you ever been to, I know you grew up in Massachusetts, so you probably, much like my wife, spent a little time in Maine in the summer, but there is the only desert east of the Mississippi in Maine. And it's the desert of Maine, and it's right up near LL Bean and stuff like that in Freeport.
Yeah.
And it's a little spot, but it's literally the fact of they didn't know about crop rotation, and they had cows and they had sheep, and unfortunately one of them eats the top, the other eats the roots, and eventually they ended up with silt, and they had nothing but silt, and nothing will grow there. And unfortunately, especially in that part of Texas, that was part of Texas that was hit by the Dust Bowl years and years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's taken years for them, to be able to support enough moisture in the ground.
To do two, because they always
to be
did
able to-
one, but then I
exactly.
saw the cotton, I was like,
Yeah,
took them long
and
enough.
it sometimes it does take a good 10, 20 years of growing that one thing to produce enough other in the soil to be able to get other crops to grow.
Quite an outfit. They had whole fields with it already baled.
Great.
Like, it was crazy to see.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
Also something we can make paper with.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what made me think of the cotton.
Absolutely, that's what our money is made with.
Yep.
Is a form of denim. But
That's because we have
it's
hipster
just
money.
it's just. It's one of those, like, what would a world without petroleum be like? We would have no electricity.
We would be motivated.
It would be interesting.
We would have some electricity. We have wind power.
How you going to transport the power? Those cables are coated with PVC plastic.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, they already have the cables.
We tried it with paper. You don't want to go back to paper
seem
wrap.
like a smart idea.
You don't want to go back to paper wrapped cables, believe me.
We're going to have a whole different problem.
Paper
You
and
think we got a
electricity.
bad grid now? We go back to the 1920s again.
Paper and hundreds of kilovolts of electricity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
good.
Like a very good combination.
You know, I mean,
Very quick
even
fire.
like every phone gone, poof.
I know.
Yeah.
You know,
Wipe
like
out the whole
circuit board gone.
Gone, everything.
But
Because you got to have
we
plastic
already
in
have
between
these things. So
we
your
do.
hypothetical is kind of nonsense because it already exists. So now that we have it,
Yeah.
it is not a bad idea to figure out other ways to keep it without
Oh no,
petroleum.
absolutely. We can do.
So the lawsuit isn't going to turn back time and make us all not
No.
have this stuff anymore.
No.
We already have it.
Well, we have it, but the problem is if you shut down petroleum industry, if
One
you
lawsuit is not going to shut it down. If they have to pay some
well,
money,
it
they
wouldn't.
have to pay
Yeah.
some money.
Oh, they'll pay money. They'll pay plenty of money.
I mean,
Absolutely.
Like I was saying, smaller scale, we still have tobacco.
First degree murder though is that's hard.
Yeah,
That's
that's gonna
hardcore,
That's
dude.
going to be
That's
a
gonna be
challenge
hard.
for them. They're
That's
going to
tough.
settle for something much
That's
less,
tough.
but with a bigger price tag.
Oh yeah, like you can absolutely get them maybe for like negligence.
Conspiracy.
You know, my favorite one.
I know.
My
you
favorite
love it.
one.
You
I
got
love it
chills.
when people get convicted of conspiracy. It just proves the fact that it's real. That means
It's not all a
that means that
conspiracy.
prosecutor had to weave a web
That
of
was
conspiracy that
definitely-
somebody believed. And what a beautiful concept. That somebody could weave such a web that someone goes, "Oh my God.
I'm
That's
in."
horrifying."
I think they could get it.
One of only many reasons I thought I should have gone into law because
Yeah.
I can definitely weave a web of conspiracy.
Yes, you can.
I can make things happen that just are not there.
And like the bug thing in the video,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
UFO that you showed earlier today, or I think Steve-O showed that
Yeah,
one.
that was Steve-O.
But as far
But-
as powering our vehicles, there's already plant-based natural gas out
Oh,
there.
absolutely.
Right,
Absolutely.
we're working on it.
Yeah,
Yep.
we are working.
Well, and I mean,
So-
it came out, we covered it in the Dudes and Beer News a couple weeks ago, where most of the lithium being mined for lithium-ion batteries is coming straight out of slave labor
Yeah.
and child labor in
Yeah,
West
yikes.
Africa. And it's like, oh my God, like that's every Tesla battery, that's every battery in our phones,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
all that stuff is incrementally coming from
Oh,
that.
and a lot of the hybrids
Like,
are going to lithium-ion batteries.
That's-
I
now.
always
the
suspected that
only
our
choice.
phones were made from slavery, though.
Well, I mean, it's we
Well,
already
yeah.
know about Foxconn with Apple
Yeah.
and the fact of like, yeah, if you paid like $10 more, it could be made like right here in
I
Mexico.
would pay $10 more for
I
the
would
record.
too, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think we're going to, because Apple has made a fairly large commitment to bringing a lot of their manufacturing processes back to the United
They've
States.
started building a factory up north.
I would pay like $100 more for it to not just randomly turn off every time there's a new update. Also, like, oh, the 8 came out, let's crash the 7.
Well, and
I don't have to worry about that for a while.
I don't think you were actually here.
Finally,
did you get the 8 or is that the X?
He's got the X.
Nice.
He's got the X. He's
I actually
X-ing
had a dream that I switched my 7 to an X yesterday.
Oh my God, dude!
Also, I was talking to Oprah.
I have dreams about tech, but I'm at least making money in them.
I was chilling with Oprah, and we were at the Apple store. Totally.
You were chilling with Oprah
totally
and an Apple genius.
Oh, rabbit hole time.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about Oprah, let's talk about Wrinkle in Time.
I have not seen it yet.
I loved it.
Okay, give me a little bit, because I read the book.
The CGI or whatever is a little like overkill, but it was really pretty to look at. But the acting was surprisingly good for a bunch of kids. That's hit or miss.
I heard the kids
Especially
did
the
really,
little
really
kid,
well.
The youngest one was amazing. Plus, like, thinking about just the world that we're in right now, how cool it would be if I watched that movie when I was little, because I knew like maybe 3 black people in my life growing up. So every time, it's terrible to admit it, but I didn't really know.
Boston, even though it is multicultural,
really
is still a very segregated
racist place. It would have been awesome to have a movie like that. And then flip side, I'm sure that people of color, kids watching this movie, it's like even more spectacular, like Black Panther, to see people that look like them doing super cool things
such an awesome movie.
in a normal way, and the relationships were all super normal. It was just
great.
Awesome.
They were just being what
normal,
they are,
just
humans.
people, and it didn't
Just
matter.
being
Like
people.
they definitely cast it by who was best for the role, with no consideration for what race anybody was.
Yeah,
because the brother was like I don't know, maybe Asian. I'm not sure, but he was not different than the other 2.
Yeah,
sure.
And then one of the parents was white, and like they definitely cast for the people, not for what they looked like. It was so cool.
Yeah,
that's great.
That, like, they're moving to that finally in this culture. So I recommend it. I think it was awesome.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that, because I've had the discussion on here. I've had the discussion with people that I know in film, and they're even told, because they make a lot of independent film, that they're trying to get budgets to make larger stuff. And they're literally told, like, to avoid ethnic leads, things like that, whatever, because most of the sales are not here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
right.
So when you're talking about going to, like, Germany or to China, something like that, or a market like that, it's different if you have Denzel Washington as your lead, or someone that's absolutely familiar.
But I didn't recognize anybody but Chris Pine.
Yeah,
and obviously the
and
main
Oprah.
Like Oprah, Reese, but the kids I didn't recognize.
Oprah, Reese Witherspoon are in that movie.
Well, no, I mean Mindy Kaling, the main, like the misses I recognized, but the kids, none of them.
Yeah.
They were all new to me, at least. I don't know if they were new to Hollywood, but
it's really good to see Michael B. Jordan get really big on the map with the role that he played in Black Panther.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was oh my god, that movie is
so good.
I'm gonna have to go see it again.
I would definitely see it again. It was good. Wrinkle in Time, I don't think I would necessarily see twice, because it's a kids movie, and it's definitely like it's a kids movie. But it was a piece of preteen science fiction, right?
Most definitely. I remember my brother making me read that, and A Wind in the Door, and Girl with the Silver Eyes. There were a few that he turned me on to that were definitely young adult sci-fi at the time.
Yeah. And this one, I didn't remember that there are 5 books in the series.
Yeah.
So I downloaded them all, because Liam is not a big reader, but he really liked it. So
good.
Maybe he'll read that.
It's a great series. It really is.
Like,
and
age or whatever,
what's interesting, though, is that much like C.S. Lewis, those books had quite the Christian leaning to them, and to their teaching, and to the concept of, like, this, from what I understand, has much more the concept of, like, become one with the universe, things like that.
It's about love, just loving people, and that loving each other will save the world more than not loving each other or actively hating each other or causing a bunch of negativity, which people are all mad because it took out Bible verses, but the theme is still there. Love is love, no matter what religion you are. So
exactly.
I think that came through really well.
Yeah.
The only thing, Oprah's not a very good actress, but Mindy and Reese were awesome. Reese was.
I heard she blew it out.
She was awesome, and Mindy was so cute. She was great too. But Oprah,
and see, that's the thing. Like that's
not the best.
That's a book that
but
I remember.
Oprah's a talk show host. She's
that's the thing,
actress.
and they played to her strengths so well because they made her face like so pow glitter, like you couldn't tell facial expressions too much. So, and she just was serene the whole time. So, like they totally took what they had and they made it. Absolutely.
Worked with what they had.
Well, I mean, I don't know. She did a decent job in Color Purple.
That was a long time ago.
That's
though.
just it.
I think she's gotten a lot more set of just
it's
being
a muscle.
Like a cool, mellow.
It's definitely a muscle. Like you have to work it to keep it going, and that's a long break between things before she did. I guess what was the last one? Fences. Was she in Fences? Am I wrong about that?
I don't know.
I know she was in something else recently during the last year or so.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I also like put TV on and I have no idea what's happening and I don't watch it. Like I could have seen it 10 times. I don't know. That's kind of a nice thing though, because every time I see something, it's still interesting.
I will admit, I've been on quite the Survivor Man kick lately. I've been watching a lot of Survivor Man
because seen it.
Oh my god, dude, Lee Stroud is the bomb. Because it's opposed to anybody else that's like Man versus Wild, anything like that. Like Lee Stroud goes out by himself. Like he is his camera crew.
Does he die at some point?
No. Like he tells people where he's generally going, and hey, my plan is to hook up with you here.
Please come find me if I'm not here.
Yeah.
And there are even episodes where it's like, okay, here's the challenge. I'm going to go get purposefully lost, and y'all are going to find me now, guys.
So he's not the guy that got eaten by a bear?
No. It wasn't Grizzly Man, no.
I mean, Survivor Man, Grizzly Man. You can see why I would be confused.
But, he's not some crazy dude like Jeff Corwin was, or not Jeff Corwin. Huh?
Steve Irwin?
Steve Irwin, yeah, exactly. Where it's like, hey, I'm going to jump on top of this stingray and go for a ride.
They are big, but no, don't do that.
Don't do that. But yeah, he's great, and he had the whole season, episode 6, all about Bigfoot.
Oh my god! Of course you loved that.
And I was like, oh my god, this is great.
we should totally go
oh my god,
do a ghost hunt or
one of the things I'm trying to do right now. I'm actively in the process of trying to contact the Texas Bigfoot Society.
We have a Bigfoot here, allegedly in Texas.
Oh my God, Jefferson, Texas just declared themselves Bigfoot capital of Texas. They've had more sightings of Bigfoot than any other city.
Go.
So
do camp out, but somewhere with like electricity.
I'm with it, man. Go do some tree banging.
Sounds like
things like that.
Podcast to me.
I am all about it, dude.
You can bring a bunch of.
There's also another one that I'm trying to check into. That's I think it's called like the 2,000 mile run or something like that. And the idea is that it's basically a road trip across Texas, but in a car that costs no more than $2,000.
Huh.
So it's like a junker cannonball run,
right? Just
where it's that'd be awesome. Pretty dope to have everybody connected via Skype in cars and doing a live episode trying to get across Texas in some junk ass piece of crap.
Do they appraise your car before you go, or they don't just take your word for it?
Yeah, no, they don't just take your word for it. Yeah,
it's like, damn it, Julie just got rid of a car we could have taken.
No, it might have made it actually because it made it all the way up from the valley. It probably would have made it.
Yeah. That would have, dude. Yeah, we could have totally won with that.
Man,
shit.
I hope that little car is happy wherever it is.
I bet you that little car is happy. It was a pretty little car. It was nice. It was
really
nice.
Cute. Went to
maybe a little much for a first car.
He wanted to have it. Yeah, it was just
maybe
a
little much for a first
maintenance
car.
And stuff for 16.
It definitely, it's not like a hey, I'm going to go to Firestone and get my oil changed all the time situation.
Right? No. So it's like hey, let's figure out how to reframe the bottom and switch and no. He doesn't do his homework. He's not going to rebuild a car.
Yeah. I would have rebuilt a car.
Yeah.
I would have rebuilt a car. Yeah. Absolutely.
He would have been like, oh, that's cool. And then it would have just sat there probably.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's something else that wouldn't exist. It's like the body of that car. Poof, gone. No petroleum, no plastic.
Yeah, that's true.
Gone.
That's true. It is a lot of metal also.
There is.
Because it was in 1998, so they still were heavy on the metal. But I'm sure, like, in the smelting of it, they probably use some sort of petroleum products at some point.
Yeah, gotta get that metal hot somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Coal.
That's what I was thinking. But that was also shitty for the environment, though.
It's not good.
We can do a lot better than coal and oil, people.
Nuclear.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, maybe that's also clean, but it also has risks.
Nuclear. Nuke it all.
Wind, water.
We got a nuclear plant right up the road.
I know.
Right up the road at UT. There is the
very tiny one.
Very
Just don't
tiny
tell the North Koreans.
grade.
Although that might be why they Austin is on the map.
It is one of many reasons.
Yeah.
Not only that, we are an example of Western decadence.
Yeah, we're kind of a garbage city these days.
I mean, seriously, dude. Like, we print the liquor sales of the top bars in the Sunday paper. You know,
That's funny. We do that.
Seriously,
yes, we do.
I feel like that's a thing that we should have brought up and have come into this. Like, we need to save those and talk about
What's
it.
that
That's
about?
awesome.
What's that about? You know, it's like, let's see, what's the city
Like,
boil
where
down
should
to
we
amongst
go
the local
here?
news?
$96 million this year, huh? On beer.
It cracked me. Well, it's like a competition. Like, if you look on the weekly paper, it shows you like what bars turned in that week.
You got to start clipping that stuff. I don't subscribe to
wild.
Boston papers. There's like the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Boston Globe.
Well, it's like when I lived in Mamu, my favorite thing was they actually showed who got arrested for what.
Oh, that's awesome.
And like they gave your address too, Jack.
Hey.
What are you thinking?
You wanna talk about keeping people straight, bro? Like that's self-regulation.
Nothing more than a little punishment to keep people straight in line.
That's it. It goes a little bit beyond the busted magazine.
Yeah.
You know, which is an issue in and of itself. Like they actually make like a great amount of money off that racket. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Because they basically go in and pay. I've paid $15 and gotten a copy of my picture from when I was arrested.
Oh, that's fun.
Like, here's me at my worst. Mm-hmm. There we go. There's my bottom. We don't want to go there.
That's done now.
Or let's put a circle over here and attach it to there. We don't want to go there either. Anywhere within this general tetrahedron around this picture of places and possibilities. We don't want to visit any of those. All right? But yeah, like, that's definitely public record. And they go out and like get people's stuff for like $5 each and post it. And then they're like, hey, take my stuff out of print. They're like, sure, send us $200 and we will absolutely make sure that that's stricken off the website.
Man, that is a racket.
It is. You know, and we see that kind of stuff so frequently, like we were saying with South by, things like that. The fact that bands weren't allowed to go out and promote their own outside of South by events on the streets of Austin.
Yeah,
you know, that's a little much. You know, that gets a little nuts.
And you know, and like when we were out today, I didn't see hardly anything posted.
No.
Like flyers and stuff, you mean?
Yeah.
No. Even though the light poles and everything were all saran wrapped in.
I did like that touch. That was classy.
That's nice.
Yeah,
they had it ready for them if they wanted to. But people just aren't. Well, the music goes on the whole time, but it doesn't really start heavily until like Thursday.
This weekend.
Yeah. And, you know, that's just it. It's gotten to where it's something that is like a month long. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Traffic.
Yeah.
Well, the traffic.
Just how expensive it is. I remember like 2 years ago, I went to Maggie Mae's, and I got there. It was early in the day. It was like noon.
I paid $7 for a chopped beef sandwich today.
That's
expensive. $7, yo.
For a sloppy Joe.
But so we go,
sloppy Joe.
Give them our Texas ID, and we get a beer, and it was like $3 at noon. I think it was around noon. We got a beer. It was like $3. We left. We saw a bunch of the other showcases. Went back to Maggie Mae's. It was like 8 o'clock. And it was $12 for a Lone Star. It was $3 at noon, and it was $12 like at 8 that night.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, dude, I just paid $3 here. And they're like, well, look, we're crowded now.
Like they stopped making it.
I was like, but I live locally. I'm here all the time. They're like, that's $8. I'm like, all right, I'll give you $8 and then I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Or $12. Whatever.
Yeah, I had an experience like that yesterday. And it was like, really? Like, I pay $1 for a beer here all the time.
Not
paying $10
not that
right
day.
Now.
It's all right.
I mean, good for them if it pads them for the rest of the year.
Good on you.
Thanks for the...
And hey, you know, coming from a family that is Cajun from the town of Mamou, where literally there are businesses that make their money in a week for the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there are places on the main street of Mamou that are only open the week before Mardi Gras and the week of.
That's crazy.
And that's it. They make their money for the year. They don't have to be open. They sell Mardi Gras goods and stuff like that.
That's
and
nice.
It's when a town with one red light and like 3,500 people turns into a place where like people are renting out their front lawn to like RVs
for like camping.
for like RVs from Canada. Like there are like 15,000 people suddenly descend on this town.
Crazy.
To come see like a traditional Mardi Gras where people like jump off horses to chase chickens.
But I bet like if their next door neighbor came by during that, they wouldn't price gouge their next door neighbor.
No, they wouldn't.
Right.
Absolutely,
Which I still
they
think
wouldn't.
like there should be local pricing during South by.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the number one is the fact
once
is.
upon a time there was such.
Yeah, there was
now.
before, not anymore.
Now,
Now it's just like don't bother to go out unless you've got.
There
tickets
shouldn't be.
to something.
There shouldn't be. Period. Though, like people are already paying enough
Right,
to
it
get
should
into
never
your
be
show.
$12 for a fucking Lone Star. I don't
It should
care where you
never-
are.
I don't care what liquor it is.
Yeah, that's true.
This is
I would
true.
pay $12 for a good martini.
You know what?
On a Tuesday.
I'll pay $12 for a double sapphire. All right,
That would be a
for a
good
double
deal.
Bombay.
Yeah.
I'll pay $12 for that. I'll pay $8 for a Bombay. But you start talking $12
for a Lone Star, a can
Yeah,
of
a
Lone
Lone
Star.
Star.
That's ridiculous. Like I said, like they suddenly stopped making it.
Right.
Like
yeah,
there's a
There's more
like,
in the back.
like you've got like
You got kegs laying up on the wall.
like
over
you've
here.
got
Mm-hmm.
Blue
on.
Bluebell camo, and they just said that there's a listeria scare again. You know, like you're hoarding it.
I
You
still
know,
won't
like
buy
it's
them because
it's
fuck
$10 a scoop.
Nope. I know people went crazy when it came back. I still refuse to buy Bluebell
I
because they
haven't
knew
bought it.
better. They knew that it was happening and they did nothing.
Yeah.
And then a second time they knew that it was happening and they did nothing. They don't deserve my money anymore.
Yeah, and that's sad stuff. That's sad stuff.
Yeah, their ice cream
because
is fairly delicious. But
it is
not-
absolutely delicious.
There are
It's
other
no-
things that are almost as delicious.
It's
It is
no
fine.
Ben and Jerry's though.
No, that's true. I love Ben and Jerry's.
That's the shit
And
right
they
there.
They
found
don't
out
come
that
in
they
half
had
gallon.
listeria once and said something immediately and
Yep.
fixed the problem.
Yeah,
Bluebell,
yeah,
a-holes.
yeah. Yeah.
Thankfully for us this afternoon, our friends at CSAC and Rumblefish, they took good care of us.
They took
this
great care of
Nice.
us. Yeah, man. They had some good sausages, some good food going on in the back.
The Miles Davis house took good care of everybody last year.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, everybody make sure to go out and check that out. That's actually at Antone's this year. They're
moving
yeah.
on up. Nice.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
teamed up with Antone's.
That's awesome.
The last venue apparently just did not work out with them this year, which unfortunately means I'm not as involved. But at the
Aw.
same time, it's good on them and it's good for them, and it's a marriage that I hope will stay and continue with them because Antone's being the staple of. I was just telling Richard the other day, the first show I did with them when I moved to town was at Victory Grill. And that is like a literal historic Texas landmark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on
And
the way
it's
over
shut
here.
down.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
it's shut down.
Well, now they're trying to make
I mean,
a
it's like
stuff
that's-
called Victory Grill.
That's so...
No, they were trying to call it lunch.
Yeah, because they foolishly
Whatever.
sold their name whenever
Yeah.
they sold the rights to their barbecue
Yeah.
sauce.
I know.
God, that just kills me inside.
And that's cool. They're going to be at Antone, so I like
Yeah.
that venue. I was just there
Yeah.
for
That's
Brett
just
Miller.
it. You know, it's an all-in-one
cool
for
venue.
them. It's all-inclusive. They can
Yeah.
walk in, do their show, but it's also a mainstay of rock and roll in Texas. It's a mainstay of acts in Texas.
Yeah.
And to do what they do as far as bringing in new entertainment from Quincy Jones, stuff like that, and other labels, it's a great, great place for
Yeah.
a new talent showcase.
That was
it
one
really is.
One of my favorite
So,
things they did last year.
Make sure. I'm glad to hear that. I really am because I helped produce that show.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was epic. It was an epic
All
show.
the free drinks didn't
Yeah.
hurt, though. Are they still doing that? then?
I have no
Antone's?
idea. You'll have
Oh.
to check that out,
I
folks.
will.
I'm sure that they'll have something. Last year was, of course, the release of their the Miles Davis Kind of Blue Scotch.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So that's what that was all about, and that stuff was absolutely delicious. Go ahead and get it. It's amazing. I don't even get money from them.
Man, we are just dropping all
and it's
kinds of
great.
I
names
know.
on here.
When we're talking South by, it's
It
hard
was-
to just be generic.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true. We
This
are.
place, if you go down
Yeah,
the street,
so
right and turn left.
Go check them out, folks. That's going to be one of your best free shows to go out and see in Austin this South by.
It's still a free show. That's
it's still a free show.
Awesome.
Yeah,
always good.
That's one of the things that they really go for,
and not
is
a
the fact
wristband
of
or badge. Like
they want people to come and hear and come and see this new talent.
What else have you got going on for South by?
Well, I've got of course the Deli Magazine pedal and synthesizer exhibit.
Nice.
Been receiving packages for that all week.
Oh, that's the thing that you got.
That's why I was like, I have no fear. I have no fear.
I don't know.
Like,
I know your neighborhood. It could be a target.
It could be.
Yeah.
No, it's right in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I've made a few noise complaints. But no, they're all from authorized vendors. I don't think Fender has sent anything that's vibrating or ticking.
No,
because modern bombs vibrate now.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just playing. Yeah.
Good.
But,
so you got that coming up?
Yeah, I got that coming up this weekend, and those are typically my only two real South by things. Typically, I am on the road with corporate stuff,
right.
Bookending South by, and it's one of those like, oh, I'm really sorry, I can't come work the crazy Sony gig.
I gotta imagine that South by doesn't pay as well as a lot of other things too.
The rates, at least in my industry, are pretty steady.
Are they pretty competitive?
Well, it's the fact that you're going to be getting paid the same amount. It doesn't matter if you go work at the JW one day. Like maybe there might be a discrepancy depending on if it's a new client or something like that, or an arrangement's been made to keep an old contract. But other than that, it's a pretty static set fee that we.
I know they got into trouble last year because of all the overuse of volunteers.
Absolutely, and that's something that you have to be careful for. Like, I remember one year I was providing an audio engineer. It was the year I got married because I got phone calls like while I was on my friggin' honeymoon about stuff, and I guess that was ACL, not South by, but yeah. It was one of those like, and they do the same thing with volunteers and shows. And it was like, hey, listen, that bit, and I mean, my poor sound girl was like calling me and crying.
Aww.
Like, she was in tears. Things were going wrong with the board and she didn't know what to do. I was like, okay, number one, calm down.
Don't cry. We got to fix
We're
it.
going to be okay. Regardless, doesn't matter. It's not your board. You didn't screw it up.
Is it on fire? No, you're okay.
You're okay. You got 12 working inputs instead of 24. Start paring things down with the band. Tell them this is a situation. Work from that.
That's stressful though. Last minute.
As far, and this is just what happens. It happens. And as far as that stage manager who's screaming at you goes, remind her that she's a volunteer and not getting paid.
Yeah.
And you're doing the best you possibly can with an in-house system that has started to fail. And it's beyond your control. Yeah. All you can do is bail things out. So step off and let me work.
Sorry, volunteer.
Sorry, unpaid worker.
Even if it is a paid worker, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, still be decent to each other.
We're all here for the same thing. You don't need to yell at me for a piece of equipment that stopped working. That's like yelling at the dude that's coming to jump your car because your car stopped working. At that point, the sound dude is supposed to be your best friend.
Yeah.
You're supposed to try and figure out what's going on, not start jumping people's throats.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
And it gets a little much. I'm very happy that I'm typically not caught up in the South by fray. I get to enjoy the shows that I do.
That's kind of the nice.
They're shows that I believe in, like the pedal exhibit. Austin Hot Mods took place in that for a long time, and then it became something that. Because of other commitments and work and things, it was something that I could help out with, but it wasn't something that I could exhibit for 3 days and devote myself to be there for 3 days to describe my pedals to people and things like that. So I'm fortunate on that end, but it's cool that I'm still involved. I love the show. I believe in it. It's something that, like I said today, it kills me inside that Pfizer was literally set up right across from where the freaking pedal and synth exhibit was set up last year. Like they were set up I know the space. I work the space all the time. And they were set up square where the synthesizer exhibit was set up. And it's like that was a Pfizer booth instead of a bunch of new synth companies exhibiting stuff for artists to check out.
Yeah,
and make
people
new
that are
artwork.
actually here to get knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe improve their craft.
Mm-hmm.
No, let's show you a Viagra commercial.
Yeah. Get hard for South by.
Rise up.
Rise up
for South
Rise
by.
up. That was it. Rise up.
So ridiculous.
Pfizer?
Yeah. Pfizer.
We should stop talking about Pfizer, though. We don't want them to get any
Why?
more
I own no
notoriety.
stock in Pfizer.
I might. I don't think I do.
That's true. You
I
might.
mean, we wouldn't want them to get a hard on for us.
Ha. Way to stick it to him.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
It's been being the only girl all the time.
Feel free to swing him. Yeah. I'm a horrible human being.
We're
folks.
adults.
Yeah, we are
Old
grown
adults.
folks.
We're 12-year-old
Yeah.
adults.
Well, and I think that's just it. You know, we look back on South by's past. We look back on things in a different point of view. You know, like I was telling you before the show, when my beautiful, loving, amazing wife Amy was talking about when Dalbus is in his teens, maybe we'll go to Interlaken and stay in the hostel that I stayed in during my semester in Rome. I was like,
No.
oh, well, we can go to Interlaken, but I don't know if we're staying in a hostel.
Yeah, I think
We can go visit your hostel for the day and like give them some money and like have some, you know, like
Right,
jam on
take
toast,
some pictures,
jam on toast breakfast.
help braid some hippies' hair, but
Yeah,
we
but
should definitely stay at a hotel.
We should definitely check out a hotel while we're there.
And I wonder too, like, I'm over Austin, basically. I've been
Sure.
here and I'm ready to try
Sure.
something new. I'll be here for the next few years at least anyway, though, because of Liam. But
Well, sure.
I think that there is that, like with ACL or with
Yeah.
South by or just general Austenness. Like, if you moved here today, it would probably be great for you. If you went to South by for the first time this week,
Yeah.
it's probably fine.
Yeah.
But
This
we
would
all
be the
have
norm.
this like romanticized
Romanticized,
view of like our first ACL when Liam was 2 and like we were young, and it's probably
It
just
costs
as
$50
good.
to go instead of
But
$300.
I'm exhausted now, so sitting outside for 3 days, like we did VIP last year because I just needed some fucking shade. You know, so the second
Yeah.
day I was like, I'm not going unless I can sit down at some point in shade and use a toilet that flushes.
With like a mister and, you know, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like I'm camping, but not really like
Instead
I'm
of,
camping.
like, it might not be that much worse. We just might have a lower threshold, you know?
Yeah.
But I think it is still worse a lot of South by because you don't get discovered at South by anymore. It's not a place
No,
for
it's
like
not. It
No.
absolutely
new
is
up
not
and
a
coming
place
artists.
that's
It's
discovered
cost
anymore.
prohibitive to be a new and up and coming artist.
Oh,
at
yeah.
Like the one
South
guy.
by.
Which, playing 9 shows
Yeah. That was second band.
here for 6 days.
Wow.
Playing 9 shows in 6 days.
9
That
shows
is
in 6 days,
crazy.
and that's the only way you can substantiate the cost.
Yeah.
He is making no profit,
Yeah, that's
Guaranteed.
nuts.
They're just here for exposure. They're not making any money off of
That's
it.
nuts.
guaranteed. They're
The
getting
exposure's
paid.
not going to be that good.
No, and the exposure.
Because it's not like Jay-Z's going to the shows, you know? Like, or whoever
Yeah.
else is a producer. I just
No.
the first name that popped in my head. Like, they're not
No.
going
Well, they are, but they're not going to the
to those ones. They're not.
Yeah,
No, they're going to the
shows at Auditorium Shores or
headlining showcases.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This one today might have been different because it was all music people, music industry.
That's
people.
Well, that was an industry event,
Yeah,
which
that
is
was
a
an
little
industry
bit different.
event,
It's
so-
not just a music showcase. Like,
Yeah.
there's one
Yeah.
later on. Well, I guess it's going on right now. That's just a straight music showcase.
Yeah.
That is a lot of up and coming artists who are all super talented, but
Nobody's going to see
nobody's gonna see
him.
them.
Nobody's going to see him.
Yeah.
But you guys play well. Proud of you.
Well, and that's the one thing that I love about the Miles Davis showcase, about the fact that they
It has a
want it.
name behind
They
it.
want it to be free.
Yeah.
Like, and they put on the show like other places in the country. They put on other showcases, stuff like that. It's not just at South by.
Well, and their artists have
But-
representation by them already, so
Yeah.
Well,
so they're
yeah.
already
some of
they're
like,
already
they're
somewhat
already
known.
starting to
Yeah.
do what they're gonna do. I mean,
Yeah, and it's just interesting to go and see like new types of music that are coming out, like the solo artist that was there last year.
yeah.
You know, things like that, where
There was
it's like
some talent, like
there was some
crazy talent,
crazy
Ugh.
talent. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
It was-
a good show.
it was always awesome.
I'm gonna have to.
And
I think you guys have re-sparked my interest. I'll have to go to some shows this weekend. I'm going up. We're staying at the Domain for the weekend.
Oh, yeah?
For the St. Patrick's Day party. So I've got to maybe branch out a little bit sometimes during the day because we'll be right there anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And there'll always be the show at Continental Club.
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, I do love that one, the Hangover show.
Yep.
I love that one. I haven't missed that one in a long time. I will try to go to that. That's always good.
Yeah. South by for me is something that has always, I guess, held a special place, especially in my industry. It was something you always strive to work. Now it's something that, I could work if I really wanted to. I'm typically somewhere else.
Yeah, now I'm almost to the why don't we get out of town and rent the house out?
Yeah. We can make a little coin here.
Yeah.
If we work this right.
Yep. Remodel will be done in 2 months.
Yeah.
The upstairs too. We could totally rent it out.
Yeah.
And make probably $1,000 a night or whatever.
Yep. Totally. At least.
Yeah.
A 3-bedroom house.
Yeah.
It's at least.
Yeah. And, that's just it. It's turned into something like that where we've just kind of overgrown what the capacity of the show really is, and even almost what the capacity of the town is.
Yeah, for sure we have. It took me an hour to get home from Dave & Buster's today.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's 9 miles. It took an hour. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have definitely outgrown our infrastructure here, without a doubt.
It's a little bit my fault I didn't take the toll road because I was like, it's 3:45. I don't need to take the toll road.
Yeah, you do.
Always take the toll road.
Always take the toll road.
Came to pick him up at 11:30. I took the toll road.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's worth it. I just was I'm not used to it, so I didn't take it. But.
It's
sure enough, as I got past 45th and Mopac.
That's it.
Thank God I took the toll road.
It was 30 miles an hour. I'm like, well, I'm still driving 75. So
yeah, I love the toll road.
Screw
it's
you
well
guys.
worth the $3, or at that time it was probably 80 cents.
It was $1.25.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, and for me, the experience of South by, stuff like that, is definitely a little bit different. I think, like you said, though, Julie, people coming into it, this is just the new norm.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just the new norm.
So it's fine for them.
And then they'll be the ones that, 10 years from now will be like, oh, man, South by is just not what it was anymore.
Talk to me about that. I'm still going, and it's been...
Yeah.
Well, by then I hopefully won't be living in Austin anymore. Please.
She has goals and aspirations, ladies and gentlemen.
I do. I want
they
the
involve,
fuck out.
They involve keys in places much, much stupider than Texas.
It's
Stupider.
We'll start covering Florida news when it happens.
Oh, no, I've moved past that to Costa Rica now.
Oh, okay. We're expatting.
Yes,
we're straight expatting.
Right now I'm over all of it, but Brian's still trying to reel me back to at least just the keys or something.
Okay,
but
okay.
No, I'm I have a folder now with different places that you can live that have Wi-Fi and shit.
I got a buddy of mine that lives there.
In Costa Rica?
Uh-huh.
Hook me up.
I will hook you up. He actually makes a living doing off-track betting and things like that.
Oh, I think you told me about him.
So he lives in a city. He lives in a city full of expats. Yes. There are all kinds of NFL people and stuff like that that live in the town that he lives in.
And then I want to go to that city because I got to get Brian on board. Because I told him yesterday I was just going to go without him. But we all know that's not going to happen.
I'll try and get in touch with him.
He's my lobster.
Yeah.
Damn it.
And see, I'll probably just build myself a container home underneath a gnome mound.
That would be fine.
Somewhere,
I could live in a container home on the beach. No problem.
Yeah.
I don't need fancy shit. I need internet.
Yep.
And a bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine.
I need strategic points of entry. And
I'm not worried about
a good electronic infrastructure.
Yeah.
That's really what I need.
I just want some solid
I don't need barrier fencing.
No. Yeah, that's true.
My
it's
army
not
of drones will take care of
that. But I was... Yeah, we can talk about this in a couple weeks when Mario Mar comes on the show.
I'm gonna repurpose a bunch of Roombas.
I think I do have a little bit of a naive version of the rest of the world because while we have our shit here is so safe.
Yeah.
That it doesn't dawn on me that we'll need fences and shit like, for security and not just so that the dogs don't run away.
Yeah. No, like you're gonna need some real shit if you move there.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a different world.
Yeah, totally.
It really is. Yeah.
Yep. But that's still, I don't know. I'm leaning towards that, but Brian really wants at least somewhere in the United States so that we can get back here easily. But we can get back here easily from there too.
Yeah. Not as easily as you might think.
Did I tell you about the bomb that was on our ferry?
What?
In Mexico?
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I told you not to go on that cruise, dude.
God, so we take a cruise. The cruise was fine, but we stopped in Cozumel.
Oh.
And we took a cruise, or not a cruise, a ferry from Cozumel to Playa del Carmen.
Sure.
And Playa del
Great
Carmen
place.
was on my list of potential places to live. So we get off the thing, we go on the ferry, it's super turbulent, it's fine, it's choppy, we get back, everything's totally fine. But then, like 3 days later, my friend Rosa sends me a link that, like 2 days before, one of those ferries had actually blown up because there was a bomb on it. And then over the next week, so that's while I was on it, they were finding explosives, but days after I was on it, that had been on the fucking ferry the whole time and just hadn't blown up.
Oh my God.
And I was like, and off the list.
I love Playa del Carmen,
I almost blew up. I mean,
twice. Because you got to go there and come back.
And it was so choppy. Thankfully, it obviously wasn't triggered by, like, motion, or we definitely would have been toast.
Thank God it wasn't mercury switches.
Thank goodness it was some real shoddy work. Good job, a-holes.
Yeah, way to go.
Couldn't blow
Viva la revolution.
Yeah, so that happens, and then we get back, and then there's these mail bombs, and I'm like, what is it? Is it me? It's not me.
Yeah, it better not be you, dude.
Not me.
Because there's a new trash can for us outside, and that kind of disturbed me.
There's a lot of backpacks just hanging out in this hallway right now, too.
Oh, yeah, but that's because our good neighbors over here are like South by busy.
In and out on South by.
They are like straight up, they are one of the companies that keeps South by rolling.
Yeah.
They are a backline company here in town. Check them out, Austin Backline, good stuff.
Yeah, this is
they give me no money. I actually gave them beer.
Nice. I've actually given them beers before, too.
Because they're working hard, and those guys work hard, and they're badass. They're good guys. I love them. I love having them as neighbors.
Good beer, too.
Absolutely.
While we're plugging things, they actually provide things for us.
We have some absolutely fresh. Would you mind grabbing me another fresh Zoe? Yeah, because we have like a fresh batch of Zoe. Literally came off the line yesterday as they gave it to me. It is delicious and amazing.
Labels out.
We love our hops and grain here in the studio. I was telling them while I was there, it's one of the only beers I've ever actively smuggled.
Where did you smuggle it?
Well, I smuggled it to Houston. I smuggled it to Vegas.
Oh, not really smuggling. Well, Vegas, I guess, is across state lines. But Houston, you're all right.
But yeah, you know, I mean... it's one of those, like, I throw a six-pack into my bag, so I've got it there for whenever I do dudes and beers. So
yeah, it's important.
I've got my hops and grain.
I buy it still all the time, and it always makes me laugh because we drink it here every Tuesday, but I go to bars, and I'm like, I'll take a Zoe, and Brian's like, how are you not sick of it? Don't worry about it, it's fine.
Yeah, no, like...
Don't judge me.
I'm the same way with Mosaic. Like, like anywhere I see it, man, I will pick it up. That is my go-to. It's great stuff, and, you know, we're very happy to be involved with them, but... Yeah.
I was telling Brian he should see if they're ever hiring. He's getting a little tired of his job.
Really?
Yep.
Getting tired of it.
I think he's just a little salty because I retired.
I can see that.
It's hard to go to a real shitty job. I mean, it's not a shitty job. It's a great job, but it's like monotonous.
It's a job.
It's a super job.
It's a jobby job.
It's a TPS report job.
So, and then, like, he got tipped. You're supposed to, like, narc on your coworkers at his job. So he got tipped the other day. And he told me, and I was like,
dirty,
next
bro.
time it happens, just say, thank you so much for your time. Go fuck yourself. I quit and find another job. Like, who cares at this point? You've been there 3.5 years. You don't need to deal with this shit anymore. You can find a different job where you don't have
wrong,
to get
dude.
narc on your coworkers. And Brian even showed him in the rules that he did the right thing and the person that narked on him did the wrong thing, and they were like, no.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there.
Nope.
You don't really care.
So yeah, I was like, next time just quit. But he's thinking like the brewery life might be. He's got the right look. He's got a tremendous work ethic. He should totally work at a brewery.
He's gonna have to grow the beard a little bit more.
Well, it grows really fast. I
know,
just
it
hate it, so I make him trim it like every couple days.
Yeah, but I'm sure he's like fucking Wolverine, though.
He is Wolverine. Like, he shaved it completely, and the next day, he basically had a beard again. And I was like, God damn, dude. Yeah, so it would be easy for him.
I'd love to get
grow
rid of these mutton chops, but they just don't go away.
He goes to sleep, he wakes up, and they're back. I'm like, well, shit.
Where those come from? Did you put some back on overnight? What the hell's going on here?
That's it. Yeah, that's it. South by today was absolutely fun. I enjoyed it. I can't remember the last time that I went out to a South by show and was not involved in the production of it somehow.
You got to do that more. We do live in this ridiculous city.
I know, but it's one of those, like, I spend so many years doing it that it's hard for me to, like, be amongst it. And
is it hard when like the IT sucks around you?
And not be compelled to work.
No.
I would like it.
Like,
be like, hey, your screen's fucked up. Get me a beer.
Oh no, Amy's literally been there before. Where I've been sitting there in the morning, and it was like some comedian that she knew that was like on like local news, and she was like, "Oh, I want to watch him. Cool." It was like, I can't remember if it was Fox or CW, but I remember looking up and getting their master control number and calling them and telling them that every time they went to the camera over the guy's right shoulder, that it had 4 white spots on his suit where the pixels were burned out on the camera.
Oh, how funny.
I was like, I know what it's like to be on broadcast. I know what it is to come in and just turn a system on. But just so you know, whichever one is going to that shot,
the pixels are burned out.
Has some pixels burned out. Yeah, just doing you a solid, bro.
Were they like, I don't know what to do with
I left
this
a message. It was a message that I left because, of course, they were in broadcast.
Right.
So I left it for the master control operator. Like, just so you know,
That's
go
really
back
funny.
to this timestamp.
And look at the suit, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
You'll see what I'm talking about. Because, like, when you're in the midst of it, you just don't see it. But, yeah, when I'm sitting there, like, in a sports bar or something, like, I hear every one of those TVs.
Oh, that's funny.
Like, when I go to Walmart, like, I hear everybody's conversation around me. Like, I can't not. It's so hard. The only way I could ever do it in bars was to be working. Like, my focus was what was going on the stage. I didn't hear all those conversations around me anymore.
I zero in on the conversations around me a lot, too.
So
and it drives Brian and Liam crazy because they'll be trying to talk to me and, like, minutes will have gone by that I'm listening to somebody else's conversation.
Sorry,
I'm like,
totally
you guys are still
there.
here?
Yeah.
Hi, what was it?
Who are you again?
I was totally
How did we
enthralled
get
a
here?
few booths back.
Like,
That's like,
they got drama, and then
that's
like, they
like,
never
wow.
hear it, and I'll be like Facebooking, like, oh my god, this crazy shit is happening behind me, and Brian's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, just be quiet for 5 seconds and listen. He's like, I don't hear anything. Like, cool.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Like, I just listened to you. I'm like, oh, but it made me feel like an asshole because I was listening to them while you were talking.
Because you weren't important and they were.
Yeah. So
There are different frequencies. My ears picked it up.
Yeah. And, that's how we're supposed to live life. We're supposed to be listening for different frequencies. We're supposed to be listening for different things. Even like today, I guess it was yesterday that I saw that article and posted it about Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was like, oh my God. Like, imagine a world without petroleum.
It's crazy.
Could we do it? Could we do it? It would be rough.
Today, if they just cut us off entirely, it would be damn near impossible. Thankfully, we already have all the stuff that we do have.
Yeah.
But
we would have
we
more
are
cars.
really adaptive. So I think that we would get our asses together and figure out a solution, like, because we would have no choice.
I think there would be certain people, especially in the United States, like, don't get me wrong, the rest of the world, Like
They'd be all over it.
Like 60% of the world would be perfectly fine. It's
Right,
only
like
40% of the
wouldn't
world.
necessarily even change for a lot of people.
Exactly. It's the other 40% of the world, the countries like the United States, Germany, people like that, where we are fully technological. We live our lives by this. Like
Europe and the
this
US
show would
hard.
literally not be on the air.
Well, sure, but you could also change to a different kind of energy to get us back on the air. I mean, because we're not going to lose the TV that we have or the microphone, because just because we don't make any more doesn't mean also the stockpiles that we already have are going to get us a little while. Like,
sure.
I think we
absolutely
could, basically, it would be hard and we would all
It'd
suffer a lot. But think of the new jobs that would come from to replace the old jobs that are lost. Like, there's possibility there. And I like everything else about him, that he's a Republican, which is insane.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's super liberal.
Now, I want to know when it's going to happen.
So is Donald Trump.
Because...
Well, differently liberal. He's just the worst. And I love liberals.
He's as liberal as it can get, and,
He's the worst, though. He's a liar. He's terrible. He's a war
not a great
problem
dude. He's not
starter.
A great dude.
He's not a good man. He's
not a great
just
dude.
The worst.
He has zero
now,
problem.
What'll be interesting, because there's a conspiracy.
He's just the worst.
There's a conspiracy that goes around, and I want to say, trying to remember the name of the movie and I want to say it's like Sixth Day or something like that, where Arnold Schwarzenegger becomes president.
I will look it up.
Oh no, it's Independence Day. Or no, not Independence Day.
No, that was
it's got Wesley
totally
Snipes.
Bill Paxton.
Yeah, it was Wesley Snipes was in it. What the hell was the name of that movie?
But yeah, there's
all
been
the
this,
restaurants were Taco Bell's.
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell?
And
Demolition Man.
Was that it?
That was it.
Demolition Man, where he was president.
Yeah.
And
had been president.
The law had been changed to where immigrants could become president of the United States,
Demolition Man.
and he'd become the first immigrant president.
Yeah. Did you see that Trump sort of jokingly, but like probably not entirely jokingly, was all up on
the president for life.
President for life idea.
Well, he is going to be president for life because he's going to die before. I mean,
he's old and he can't be healthy. I've seen that badonkadonk.
Yeah.
And he stresses out way too much, and he has a temper problem.
Can you imagine what his blood pressure must be on a daily basis?
Yeah.
Dear God, just chill out, dude. Tell the truth at least once. It's got to be so stressful to have to live with that all the time. I can't even imagine.
And he doesn't drink on top of all of that.
I know.
So he has no coping.
Just drink a glass of red wine. I feel
he has no coping mechanism.
He would just go balls to the walls.
Oh yeah, he would just go completely.
Oh my Lord!
Just show
Imagine
up with
drunk Trump tweets.
Yeah.
They're already insane.
Yeah. Just a bottle of Stoli Raz and a fucking crazy straw.
It'd be like Zima and Jolly Ranchers. I drink only the best Zima and the best Jolly Ranchers.
I'm going to make a wall out of Jolly Ranchers, and it's going to be beautiful.
And then the Jolly Rancher people are going to pay me for them.
That's right.
They're not. It's not going to happen, Jolly Rancher.
That's okay. I got a plan.
Pipe dream away.
I got a plan.
I'm going to recycle all of these Stoli bottles, and we're going to make the wall out of that, okay?
Hey, okay.
It's going to be beautiful.
That would be nice. I mean, recycling glass.
Yeah.
Make some new beaches. For me to expat in if he decides to be president for life. No, I'm out, dudes. I'm out.
President for life. Oh my God. I mean, quite honestly, we may as well have it that way. We got it that way for Congress.
I know.
You can just be a congressman for life. And that's something that I know you've been here for a while now, Julie. You've been here for just over a year, and I love you for that. I love you for putting up with me.
I'm intermittent sometimes, though. I'm not every week, but I try. I'm here as much as I can.
You're here as much as you can commit to being here, and that's all I've ever asked. Because you provide a different voice. You provide a different point of view, and I love it. And you challenge me on things, and you challenge our topics on things. But it's one of those, it's like, good God, what the hell? From any point of view, how can you not just be shaking your head in the palm of your hand at this point with the way that things are going, where it's like, can nobody just stop, for a minute? Just for a minute.
Let's make a plan, kids.
For a minute.
Yeah.
Come on.
Let's make a
Slow
plan.
down for just 1
You
second.
know,
Yeah.
Stop firing people every day.
I say it all the time in my work, and
Stop running off all of your help.
I will
if
admit
anybody
the
else did
fact.
their job this poorly, they would be out of a friggin' job.
Yeah.
I will admit the
I
fact.
think I'm alienating
that
like 90% of your listeners.
It's okay.
Right now.
It's okay. Because I'm about to bring it back. Because I'm
Bring
about to
that
say
shit
something
back.
horrifying, but it's a true statement. And I've said it before to people that I work with. It's like, okay, everybody, how about this? Let's stop pissing for distance, and let's all start pissing in the same thing for quantity, all right? Like, let's quit
Right.
making this thing a competition,
Yes.
and let's start working together to make an actual friggin' change.
Yeah,
To actually
change
make
should
something
definitely
happen.
be Trump.
Because
We should all pull together for that common goal. At
we
this
can
point.
start there, and we can
Yeah, and then just
hopefully
take that goodwill and
like a fungus
move it on
just
to
take
so
over
many
so
things,
easily.
So many great things.
But yeah, like let's
Tremendous.
all start
Tremendous.
going
Tremendously
toward the
great.
same.
Things.
Tremendously huge, great things.
You know,
we can do it. We
yeah,
can do
like
it.
please
Vote
please,
in
like,
November.
Yeah,
Please.
you know,
Please.
get out there,
Vote.
be an informed person in society.
Yeah.
Be someone who reads beyond headlines. Be someone who is willing to read beyond their own scope of understanding. Even, you know, understand other people's point of views.
Research.
Research.
Do your
Research.
research.
Yep.
Good
My
God,
goodness.
yeah.
Be informed.
An uninformed vote is scary.
And it's so easy here, especially in
Yeah.
Austin, to have an informed vote because, like, before this primaries, I didn't know these smaller names, you know, but
Yeah.
it's so easy to look at, like, a couple different local news sources and they spell out exactly what everybody's about. And sometimes they make recommendations, which is a little bit biased, but sometimes they just say what they're about, and then it's really
Well, it
easy
at
to
least
go
gives
into.
you it at least gives you a clickable
Some
link or
sort of
some
reference.
source to go to.
Yeah, and then
Much-
it's easy. Like, you just pick and you're like,
Yeah,
okay. And then
much
go in,
like
Brian
Dudes
actually
and Beer
had it.
news stuff, where it's like, hey, here are the actual links to the news stories.
Yes,
Like, here's a
read it.
summation, but here's the actual news story too. And if there's like a study, the study is linked
It's
in the
there.
news story.
That's
It's there. It's
crazy.
great. Like,
Whatever
what's
you
that
do,
about?
Don't get your news.
And
from Facebook.
good
Not
God,
exclusively. Like,
No.
if you see, like, because I do get a lot of my, like, hey, I need to read the news from Facebook, where people will be like,
sure.
oh my God, I can't believe blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, let's figure out what it is that they're talking about. And then I go, and I wouldn't have known that if it weren't for Facebook. 'Cause I
Right,
don't,
sure.
like, watch the news regularly or read the
Get your
news
topics from there, but
regularly.
don't get the content.
Right, exactly.
You know, follow the trending topics
Did you
and then go
see-
research on it.
Yeah.
That Amendola has
Yeah, he's
gone to
gone.
Miami?
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's football talk, sorry.
it's all right.
I did see that.
Soon
He's
enough.
a fellow
Soon enough.
Patriots fan.
We will be having the football conversation.
Oh, are you going to
soon
join our
enough.
fantasy football?
course I am.
I
Dudes
know
and
you're
Beer
going to
Run
join
Absolutely.
the fantasy
Nice.
football league.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Boys.
Yeah,
My
we
sister forgot her trophy, so it's still at my house mocking me for our fantasy football league.
Well, and on that note, and on that tease of the Dudes and Beer Fantasy Football League,
Woohoo.
I would like to say thank you so much for coming out, Richard Adams from Breach.
Thanks for
I think
having
we
me.
had a successful test run of some Breach Live stuff
I
tonight.
do believe
Hopefully
so.
we had
Yeah.
some good views on
Hopefully
that.
we'll get some feedback.
And we'll get some good feedback from regular viewers and people who tuned into that. Tell everybody where they can go to check out stuff for Breach TV and for Breach.fm, what it's all about.
So Breach.tv is our video sharing platform. We've taken all of the things that are good with other sites and gotten rid of a lot of the bad. We're not perfect. We don't try to be. But we are getting people monetized that normally would not be.
Right here among them.
Breach FM is going to be the musician source for those that don't necessarily want to be on SoundCloud or iTunes or Spotify. We're going to give them a showcase to make themselves a home where they can feel welcome and
Yeah.
can showcase their talents. The artists that we saw this afternoon are a prime target.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
super talented. That second band, my God, so much energy.
Oh, dude.
I was tired.
Tall Juan, everybody.
Juan.
Tall Juan. Oh, and by the way, the other one was he had it on his phone. It was the Hags. Oh my God.
Death Hags.
Death Hag.
Death Hag?
Death Hags.
Hag
like
was what she
metal,
was
or-
with her solo stuff.
No, she was listed
But-
as Death Hags.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But she was definitely flying colors.
Yeah.
And she was really.
Oh
she
my
was really
God! It was so
entertaining.
awesome. It was so incredible.
She's
It was so
one of the
incredible.
very
So
few
go out,
artists-
check those folks out. A couple of emerging artists that were featured over at the MFA event that we went to today. It was fantastic. Julie, tell them where they can go to find your hangover blog so they can get over Dudes and Beer in the morning.
Hot sauce and aspirin.wordpress.com.
All right. And while you're online checking out Breach TV, Breach.tv, Breach.fm, as well as Hot Sauce and Aspirin at WordPress.com, please make sure to go on by the Dudes and Beer podcast, dudesandbeer.com. We are a member of the HC Universal Network. We have all kinds of content on there. That's fantastic. It's fun. Go on by. Check out the News of the Week, where we draw all of our articles from. Feel free to contribute news articles to our Facebook group. That's where we get the News of the Week from. We will make sure and give you a shout out on air if you contribute. So, till next time, everybody, if you can't be good,
Be good at it.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Dudes and Beer Podcast. To listen to our audio streams or chat with us live, download the official Dudes and Beer app for Android and iDevices, available on Google Play and iTunes markets. For more episodes, content, and information, visit us online at dudesandbeer.com. You can also find our episodes on Breach.tv, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast service. Dudes and Beer is a proud member of the HC Universal Network family of podcasts. For more about our sponsors and other podcasts on this network, visit hcuniversalnetwork.com. Thanks for listening, everybody, and until next time, drink responsibly.